What is up, y'all? We are back with another video, and today we'll be talking a little bit more about Stranger Things Season 5. Before we get into it, definitely smash the like button, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So to get into this, I want to talk about some things that could possibly happen in Stranger Things Season 5, starting off with something that happened in Season 4 that might still happen in Season 5. So we know there was 4 gates that have been open in Season 4, you know, with the death of Chrissy and everything. And then even when Max had her little moment when she was on her deathbed, but now she's in a coma, a gate actually opened. So to get into this, I think that when you sit here and think about Stranger Things, the whole plot and story is about this gate that was open between 1 and 11 when they had that little battle or whatever. She opened the gate with her powers and she pushed Vecna through, you know, this portal that created the Upside Down. I know it sounds crazy, but 11 was the one who got everything started, but it wasn't on purpose. It was her defending herself. Now you have 4 gates, and now Hawkins is in shambles. You know, the army is down there and everything. So it definitely is going to be a different type of season with Stranger Things. Now I want to talk about some things I think that's going to have to happen. Now we seen in previous, you know, seasons where, you know, 11 had to shut a gate and everything. Remember, she had the mascara on, the punk rock look and everything. I think that, you know, when you sit here and think about it, that was in Season 2. I really do feel that she's going to have to do that again, because she always comes to their rescue. If you go back and look at Season 3 with Billy, everything, 11 always, she risked it. She always is going to risk it, but I think that this time she might risk it and it might be a little dangerous for her. She might get hurt severely or something like that, but it started with 11, it's going to have to end with 11. Same way it started with Will, it's going to have to end with Will. If you think about it, it would have never been a situation with Will Byers in the Upside Down if it wasn't for that battle between 11 and 1 and she opened the portal. You know what I'm saying? So it all makes sense now, because when the ground had opened or whatever in Season 4, I want to say we saw Demogorgons coming out the ground or something like that. I think we did. We seen Demogorgons coming out the ground. So that makes sense on how in the beginning where Will was on the bike, he ran to his house, went into the shed, got the rifle. That's why the Demogorgon got him, because it ended up kind of just, you know, scaling Hawkins. Like, you know, it's something new. So that's how it all happened. They took Will back to the Upside Down through a gate or, you know, a portal. So it all makes sense. If you think about it, 11 was the one who started everything. So it started with Will Byers. He was the first victim, if you want to call it that. But the whole thing, the gate opening, just the Upside Down and Vecna, it all started with 11. So however it started, that's how it's going to end. Now, I told you guys this in previous videos, 11's my favorite character. Yeah, it might come down to the point, you know, she has to sacrifice herself to have these gates closed, just because these gates being open and closed takes away a lot of power from 11. I'm talking, she looks very exhausted. Like, she looks like she's on her last leg. But I think it's going to have to be something where she is going to have to shut these gates, and, you know, maybe some of her friends can help her. Maybe they're separated in groups, and, you know, 11's working to get these gates shut and everything. I think it's going to be something like that, where they're separated, the gates got to be shut, but still dealing with Vecna, Demobats, Demogorgons, all of that. But 11's going to be the main key to shut these gates, which that's what, if you think about it, that's what Season 5 is probably going to be about, mainly just getting those gates shut and getting things back to normal. But along the way, it's going to be problems coming. You know, it's going to be problems coming, and, you know, people being unalived for sure. We know that it's going to be some characters being unalived, sadly, but I just think it's going to be a journey of just emotions and just emotional roller coaster. And I thought about this. Now, we talked about, you know, Will, you know, being unalived, sacrificing himself, or 11. We talked about Steve, Jonathan. Now, this is a person I can actually see being unalive, just because I feel like his character has been moving towards that in front of our face the whole time, but we just can't see it vividly yet. Now, when you look back at Mike Wheeler, yes, when you look back at Mike Wheeler, he had a lot of, you know, great moments in this TV series where, you know, 11's laying on her back on a piece of the dough table. He's like, I love you and all this, right? And he's just expressing his love all the time for 11. Like, it's just so many moments. I was actually just watching some of the Stranger Things best moments last night, just because I wanted to go back down memory lane. I'm just looking like, man, they had a lot of, you know, emotional moments where Mike carried the situation because 11 was still getting used to life, you know. And I think that the whole time we're thinking about 11 passing away and Will what if Mike passes away? What if Mike actually sacrifices himself for 11? Like, you know, and 11 loses it. Like, she goes crazy, bro. Like, she loses it because Mike, maybe 11 is literally about to get wiped by Vecna or a Demogorgon, whatever. You know, maybe it's a new creature. You know, people are speculating it's going to be a new creature next side of Vecna. But either way, Mike steps in, being a hero, and he gets took out. Like that, I never thought of it like that. Like that will be insane. Like my heart will go into shambles because you know how much he loves 11. He's willing to do that. I'm telling you, he's willing to do that, and I think that can make 11 get very angry, like, and that can be the motive of just taking Vecna out immediately. You know how it goes. Like, she's pissed. She's using, you know, that as fuel to the fire to take out Vecna. But what if Mike Wheeler passes away, y'all? Just trying to save his friends, or 11, you know, just stepping in place to get everything back situated. I think that will be some sad ass shit. Like, it'll just be crazy. But, and you know what else would make the situation crazier, right? So, you know, Mike and Nancy are brother and sister. When Mike, say if he does pass away, that's going to give Nancy fuel also. That's her little brother. So I think that will be crazy, bro. Now she's working with 11, and she's giving 11 these motivational speeches because 11 probably is about to break down. Like, I can't do this anymore, you know, stuff like that. She feels like it's her fault, but Nancy's like, you got to do it. Mike will want you to do it, you know, things like that. It could happen. I can see it happening, but this is just me speculating as a Stranger Things fans. You know, and y'all in the comments have been telling me y'all have been loving the Stranger Things videos, so we keep pumping them out. But I definitely think that can happen. Also, what if Nancy is one of the victims? Also, it can be unalive. She's definitely up for grabs because, you know, she had that little vision with Vecna and things like that. And maybe with her being unalived, I talked about that in my previous video where either Jonathan or Steve has to be unalived due to the love triangle, but I didn't really touch on, you know, Nancy. So what if Nancy actually could be unalived and then it forces Jonathan and Steve to become cool and it cancels the love triangle? I think that would be crazy, just to, you know, immediately just wipe the love triangle out, because people are still asking questions about it. Like, who she's going to choose? What is she going to do? You know, how's it going to turn out? Maybe the Duffers write it for her just to be unalived, that we just go wipe that triangle out the way. You know, I mean, that could happen. Or it could still be Steve Harrington or Jonathan passing away. Now, we seen Hopper actually with this rifle, this loading rifle. He's loading his rifle or whatever in this behind the scenes of Stranger Things season 5. Now, this was very interesting because we see a Demogorgon sign that kind of replicates a no ghost sign like Ghostbusters. Now, I wonder if they're going to be recruiting. Like, I wonder if the town of Hawkins is going to be recruiting people in groups to help them take out the Demogorgons that's now out on, you know, ground. I can see that them recruiting Hopper, and Hopper's going missing. And maybe, look, maybe Hopper doesn't go missing. You know, maybe Hopper wants to do that to help Hawkins and, you know, to survive. Or they just recruit and they make Hopper do that just because he's a man and things like that. And maybe the kids, or that's why we saw that scene with behind the scenes of Mike and Will and Holly. They're on bikes near like the army base. Maybe they're looking for Hopper. They think he's in there. So maybe Hopper gets took and he's now part of that army. He's doing things and they're thinking Hopper's missing and stuff like that. Whole time he's working with the army, you know, or the group, whatever you want to call it. And he's taking out Demogorgons and stuff like that. But I think this season, I think people are forgetting about that. Like, the gates have the way we left. I mean, people probably haven't, but, you know, Hawkins was taking over. Grass was turning gray. The ground was split in 4 due to the 4 gates. And I'm pretty sure Demogorgons and Demobats are all over in Hawkins, and they have to fix that. So they're at war right now, you know. They're at war. 11 probably is still, you know, wanted from that situation with Papa. It's bad. And Hellfire Club obviously is starting to do things and back in school together. We see the shirt with Dustin, unless he's playing like just homage to Eddie Munson, but we're definitely going to see some Hellfire Club in season 5. I think that it's going to be crazy. They're going to still be getting that, you know, that backlash for them being Hellfire Club. People thinking that they're a cult and everything. You know, Eddie Munson passing away. I think that it's going to make it worse just because they think, you know, so they sacrificed Eddie Munson and shit like that. Definitely still think we're going to get like some flashbacks of Eddie Munson just because he has such, you know, a great following in Stranger Things franchise that people people want to love to just see his face. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think we're going to do that. But a time jump, I definitely, when you sit here and think about it, I think we might start off super just into it. You know, people, I don't know if people touched on that, but just super into everything, like how we left off with season 4. I think we're going to be into it. Demogorgons jumping on buildings, crawling up buildings, 11 and everybody probably in a bunker or some shit. Maybe that's how they find a radio station. They use it as a bunker for safety, and they're making a plan how to get out, and then boom, we get this crazy time jump. But I mean, that's just me speculating. It could also just be that time jump going back to see younger Will when things first happened. Remember, I just talked about it in the beginning of the video. Maybe they do a little time jump or flashback back to young Will, because we know for sure we're going to see young Will because we see it in the BTS of it. But maybe they're explaining like the whole time, like just the different angle of it. We get to see that situation happen again, but with a different angle. Like maybe we see where the Demogorgon came from, literally, like the portal it crawled out of. From the moment that 11 opened that gate with Vecna, we see how it dominoed to Hawkins. Like the Demogorgon comes out of wherever it comes out of, it rushes to Will, it takes Will, drags Will down to the upside down, and we just see it. And we see Vecna down there also. You know, I remember the moment we got Vecna revealed to us, I looked at the whole other seasons different, like Billy and 11's little battle in the pool room, like how he was basically Vecna. Billy was basically Vecna. He just had still had his shell. You know, a lot of these moments when you look back, Vecna was always there. Like stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So maybe they go back to explain it a little more, and that can be Vecna's backstory on the dark side, really, like just showing how he was there, you know, with the clock and everything. And I think that clock is going to play a big part in just how the upside down is still like stuck on that day. I think that clock is going to somehow unwind it back to reality, and maybe that can be the weakness of the upside down or Vecna. Maybe 11 goes back in time to shut the gate, that fixes everything, and then comes back. I know that sounds a little far-fetched, but in reality, that sounds like that's something that can happen, because the whole thing is about these gates. If these gates are closed, they're good, and how to keep them, you gotta keep them closed. You know what I'm saying? So I think that could potentially just happen with Stranger Things, just because the gates and everything definitely leads to the whole story and plot with Stranger Things. And it seems that, you know, 11 has to be the one to fix everything, and everything falls on her. It's all about how everyone will get to that point being safe and not being unalived. I definitely know some main characters are definitely goners though, for sure. But yeah, guys, unfortunately, this is the end of the video. Comment down below if you guys want more Stranger Things Season 5 videos. And I want you all to hit me up on my social medias at ILIKESCARY. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.